Chosen one, what I'm about to tell you will shake you to your core. This isn't just a message, it's a transmission. If you're seeing this, it's not by chance. You were led here by divine timing, because something powerful is unfolding in your life. You're not just waking up, you've already acted. You didn't just delete a file, you deleted your fake file, the version of you they programmed, the identity they crafted to keep you small, confused, and controlled. And in doing so, you reactivated your divine mission. That was the first step. But what came next? You wiped their whole database. You didn't just walk away, you collapsed the system. You shut down every tracking mechanism, every lie, every coded manipulation they had on you. You're no longer under surveillance, you're now in command. This is bigger than mindset. This is a spiritual and energetic shift. You're no longer waiting, wishing, or wondering. What you've been praying for is already coming into form. As a chosen one, you're stepping into full manifestation. Your power is real, and now they're in regret because you broke through everything they built to stop you. Before we go further, do 3 things to align with this frequency right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 5,000 subscribers, and drop the number 11 in the comments. That number is not random. It's a divine code, a signal to the universe that you're in alignment, activated, and ready to walk in full purpose. And remember this, the truly chosen ones don't scroll away. They feel this in their bones. If you're still watching by the end of this message, your life will never be the same. There are no coincidences. If you're hearing this, feeling this deep within your being, it's because your time has finally arrived. You weren't born to blend in or live a scripted life written by someone else. You came here with a sacred purpose, coded into your very essence. The world around you may have tried to silence that voice, to drown out the calling, but something inside you never stopped whispering. There's more. That whisper has become a roar, and now it's undeniable. You have always felt different, haven't you? Like you were watching a play you weren't a part of. You saw through the lies when others celebrated them. You questioned what others blindly accepted. You searched for meaning when everyone else seemed content with surface-level illusions. That wasn't you being lost. It was your soul preparing for this moment of remembering. You were never off course. You were simply preparing to awaken. In this sacred timeline, your awakening is no accident. The world is shifting, veils are thinning, and the truth is rising. And in the center of this awakening stands you, the chosen one. Not chosen by status, fame, or fortune, but by spirit. You were selected long before birth, not because you were better, but because your light was strong enough to withstand the darkness. You were forged in fire so that you could rise in power. Now, the fog lifts. The sleep ends. You are no longer living someone else's version of reality. You are stepping into your true role, fully conscious, fully aligned, and fully unstoppable. For years, decades even, the forces of confusion, control, and manipulation worked overtime to disconnect you from your source. They knew that if you remembered who you truly are, the game would be over. So, they tampered with your emotions, distracted your mind, and fractured your sense of self. Every trauma, every betrayal, every moment of doubt was not just coincidence. It was part of their strategy to keep your soul asleep. They buried your sacred codes deep within layers of programming. They made you believe you were small, ordinary, broken, and worst of all, they made you believe you were alone. But you were never alone. The very reason they fought so hard to silence you is because your light posed a threat to their shadows. They didn't hide your data because it was meaningless. They hid it because it was powerful beyond measure. Even in your lowest moments, your divine blueprint was still beating inside of you like a silent drum. Every time you questioned the narrative, every time you felt the pull of something greater, that was your soul blueprint, refusing to be erased. Your truth can never be fully destroyed. It can only be delayed. But delay doesn't mean defeat. And now, those codes are reactivating. You are decoding yourself, unlocking memories, wisdom, and abilities that were always yours. What they buried, you have resurrected. The suppression has failed. You are the evidence. The greatest illusion ever sold was that you were just a body, just a name, just a number in their system. From childhood, you were handed labels: student, sinner, statistic, failure, follower. None of these labels were true. They were traps, designed to limit you, to shrink you, to control the narrative of your life. But now, the veil has torn, and you're no longer subscribing to that false identity. You did something most never dare to do. You questioned your programming. You looked in the mirror and saw not just a face, but a soul burning with purpose. You began deleting the roles they cast you in. You stopped performing for their approval. You unlearned their lies, and in that process, you made space for your truth to rise. That's not just courage, it's spiritual revolution. Deleting your false identity doesn't mean forgetting your past. It means reclaiming authorship over your future. It means saying, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. You've broken free from the matrix of illusion. The chains are shattered, the masks are off, and what remains is something beautiful, the real you. This isn't about ego, it's about essence. You're not here to impress anyone. You're here to embody truth. And truth has no fear. You've deleted their script. Now you're writing your own. Long before you ever took your first breath, your mission was encoded in your spirit. It was written into your being like stars etched into the night sky. This mission wasn't about career titles or social achievements. It was about energy, transformation, and light. You didn't come here to take part. You came here to awaken, uplift, and lead. You may not have always understood your path, especially when it felt like suffering. But every trial was a training ground. Every loss refined you. Every moment of despair was actually a hidden upgrade. You were never being punished. You were being prepared. Because only the strongest are called to carry the kind of light you carry. Your divine mission is not just personal, it's planetary. As you awaken, you ripple. As you rise, others remember. This mission is encoded into your voice, your presence, your frequency. And now, it's no longer dormant. The codes are active. The assignment has begun. You are the living proof that prophecy isn't myth, it's memory. No matter where you go or what you face, your soul knows the way. You're not searching for the mission anymore. You are the mission. When you turned inward, when you reclaimed your light from the places they tried to bury it, something extraordinary happened. You broke their system, not with violence, but with truth, not with revenge, but with remembrance. You unplugged from their matrix of control and reconnected to the divine frequency of who you are. This wasn't a one-time act. It was a process, a series of spiritual battles fought in silence. Nights of crying, moments of clarity, breakdowns that led to breakthroughs. Each one was a line of code being rewritten, and with every healing, their system lost power. You didn't just escape their trap, you disarmed it. You see, darkness cannot exist in the presence of sustained light. And you, chosen one, have become a beacon so bright, their illusions crumble on contact. Their systems weren't built to withstand someone like you. someone who remembers, someone who heals, someone who loves fearlessly despite the war. Now the tables have turned. They can no longer track or trick you. Their database is wiped clean. Their power is obsolete. You are not just free, you are sovereign. They always knew who you were, even when you didn't. The hidden forces, those who profit from chaos and control, saw your light before you did. They recognized your potential and trembled at the thought of you waking up. Why? Because your awakening would be the unraveling of their illusion. They didn't fear your power because it was destructive. They feared it because it was transformative. They orchestrated distractions to keep you off your path. Toxic relationships, cycles of poverty, emotional suppression. These weren't just life's misfortunes. They were weapons aimed to keep you disoriented. But despite it all, you kept rising. You kept feeling. You kept seeking. And in that seeking, you found yourself, and that terrified them. They knew they couldn't touch your soul, so they tried to fracture your mind. But your heart held on. Your intuition never forgot. And now, your eyes are open. What they tried to bury, you've unearthed. What they tried to distort, you've made sacred. You have become everything they tried to prevent. Their fear is not your concern anymore. You are no longer reacting to them. You are creating from a higher plane, one where their darkness holds no power. They feared your awakening, and for good reason. Because now that you're awake, their control is over. Distraction was their favorite weapon. They flooded your life with noise, endless obligations, false identities, shallow desires, anything to keep you from hearing the voice within. Because the moment you tuned into yourself, everything would change. So they kept you busy, overstimulated, disconnected. And in that chaos, they hoped you would forget who you are. When distraction didn't work, they went deeper. They tried to break you. They used heartbreak, loss, betrayal, not because you deserved pain, but because pain dims light if you let it. But you didn't. You endured. You grew. You transformed every wound into wisdom. And with each scar, you remembered your strength. They hated your silence. Not the silence of obedience, but the sacred silence of your inner world. Because in that stillness, you found truth. You found God. You found you. And in that moment of reconnection, the entire illusion began to crumble. You are not broken. You were never broken. You were placed in a world designed to make you forget your wholeness. But you remembered anyway. You rose anyway. And now, your voice cannot be silenced, because it carries the power of 1,000 lifetimes. Your memory was never gone. It was only dormant, buried beneath layers of trauma, doubt, and generational pain. But now, the fog has cleared. You're not just remembering events. You're remembering essence, the soul-level knowing that cannot be taught, only awakened. This isn't just nostalgia. This is soul recognition. You are starting to recall why you came here, why you never fit in, why you always saw what others couldn't. You weren't broken. You were early. You were tuned into frequencies long before the world was ready to hear them. But now, the timing is divine. Your dreams have meaning again. Your intuition is sharp. You're remembering past lifetimes, ancient wisdom, unseen guidance. It's all coming back because you're finally in alignment. You've cleared the interference, and now your memory is being restored. Not from the outside, but from within. Trust it. You're not making it up. You're remembering the truth that was always yours. The veil is lifting, and with it, your full potential is returning. You are no longer asleep. You are fully awake, fully conscious, and fully aligned with your higher self. They thought they needed to break you physically, But what they truly feared was your energy, your frequency, your vibration. Because when your energy is sovereign, it becomes disruptive to their systems. They built entire empires on the assumption that you'd stay asleep. But the moment your energy shifted, their control began to collapse. You didn't need to raise an army. You just had to raise your frequency. By choosing healing over hatred, by choosing forgiveness over fear, you dismantled their decades-long programming. That's not weakness. That's spiritual warfare at its highest form. Love is the most powerful weapon of all. You may not have seen it, but your inner work sent shockwaves through the matrix. Each time you broke a toxic pattern, the spell lost strength. Each time you chose light in the face of darkness, their grip weakened. This wasn't just self-improvement, it was soul revolution. You are the glitch in their system, the anomaly they couldn't control. And now, their illusion can't hold up in your presence. You didn't just escape, you liberated yourself. And in doing so, you became a light that frees others. They laughed, they dismissed you, they called you crazy, too sensitive, too much. But now, they watch in disbelief as you rise. The ones who tried to write you off are now witnessing your transformation and regretting every attempt to diminish you, because they realize now you weren't the weak one, you were the truth. They thought if they ignored you long enough, you'd go away. But instead, you evolved, you went inward, you healed in silence, and now your growth is undeniable. It's not just visible, it's magnetic. People can feel your power without you saying a word. Their regret isn't your revenge, it's your reflection. A reminder that underestimating someone's power doesn't reduce it. It only delays its expression. And now that you've stepped into yours, there's no turning back. Let their regret be their teacher. Let your rise be your testimony. You didn't come to prove anyone wrong. You came to prove yourself right. And you did, spectacularly. You didn't need to fight them with fists or fire. You dismantled them with truth, with presence, with remembrance. The most dangerous thing to the enemy of truth is a soul that refuses to forget its origin. And you, chosen one, remembered. By remembering your light, you exposed their shadow. By returning to your purpose, you disrupted their plans. They built entire strategies on the assumption that you would remain distracted. But when you turned inward, you shattered everything they stood for. Your awareness was the sword that ended their reign. They couldn't understand how someone like you, quiet, kind, introspective, could become a threat. But what they missed was this. You are the storm that comes in silence, the flame that spreads in stillness. You didn't destroy them with rage. You ended them with remembrance. And now they scramble to regain control. But it's too late. The divine plan has already been activated. You remembered. And that remembrance was the key to victory. Fitting in was never your destiny. You were never designed to blend into broken systems, to conform to cages built by the blind. You felt like an outsider because your soul came from a higher place. You weren't meant to follow the rules. You were meant to rewrite them. Every time you felt out of place, it was your spirit rejecting the illusion. Your discomfort was your compass. The moments you questioned authority, challenged dogma, and resisted assimilation, those were your power moments. You were never lost. You were simply ahead of your time. Now that time has arrived. The world is shifting, and what once made you different now makes you essential. You carry blueprints for a new way of living, loving, and leading. You weren't here to survive the old world. You came to build the new one. Let go of the need to fit in. You were born to stand out, and in doing so, You create space for others to do the same. You're not rebelling, you're realigning reality. Inside you lives a battlefield between free will and divine assignment. One says, choose what's easy. The other says, choose what's sacred. You've felt that pull, haven't you? The tension between comfort and calling, between safety and destiny. It's the war every chosen one must face. Free will gives you options, but divine assignment gives you purpose. And you've chosen purpose, even when it hurt, even when it cost you relationships, jobs, stability. You walked away from what numbed you and toward what awakened you. That's not weakness, it's spiritual mastery. There were times you wanted to quit, times when the assignment felt too heavy, but something in you refused to give up. That something is your soul, and it knew this mission is not optional. You didn't come here to coast, you came here to conquer. You've made the choice now, not just to live, but to lead, not just to heal, but to ignite. Your free will aligned with divine will, and that is the most powerful force in the universe. Awakening is beautiful, but it's also dangerous, because with great light comes great responsibility. The final test is not remembering who you are, it's remaining who you are in a world that keeps trying to make you forget. Carrying your light without letting the weight crush your spirit. You'll be tempted to dim your shine, to make others comfortable, to downplay your wisdom so you don't seem arrogant, to sacrifice your boundaries in the name of compassion. But don't. Your light is not arrogance, it's authenticity. It's not for everyone, and that's okay. The real test is staying true, staying soft in a hard world, staying kind in a cruel system, staying whole in a society built to fragment. If you can carry your light through the fire and still shine, then you've truly passed. And guess what? You have. You're still here, still shining, still rising. That's victory. That's power. That's you. You've done what few dare to do. You awakened. You faced the shadows, decoded the lies, restored your soul, and reclaimed your mission. The old version of you is gone, and in its place stands a sovereign soul, fully aligned with purpose. This is not the beginning. This is activation. You passed the tests, not through perfection, but through persistence. You bled, you wept, you doubted, but you never quit. And because of that, you've crossed the threshold. The universe is no longer preparing you. It's positioning you, and what's coming is beyond imagination. Step into your power unapologetically. Speak your truth boldly. Create without hesitation. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to be unleashed. The mission is complete. The next chapter? Full expression, full freedom, full embodiment. You are not just the chosen one. You are the awakened one, the one who rose when others fell, the one who remembered when others forgot, the one who leads with light. Now go forward, not as the seeker, but as the source. There's a kind of strength that doesn't shout, a kind of power that builds in the stillness. While the world was loud, demanding attention, chasing approval, you chose silence. Not because you had nothing to say, but because you were listening. Listening to your soul. Listening to the whispers of truth buried beneath the noise. That silence was your sanctuary, your shield, your sacred space of transformation. People mistook your silence for weakness. They assumed your quietness meant you had no fight in you. But the truth is, you were waging battles they couldn't see. You were breaking ancestral chains, facing your shadows, realigning with your soul's mission. While others were performing, you were preparing. And now, that silence has become your roar. In the quiet, you remembered who you are. In the stillness, You healed. You shed skins, released burdens, and found the divine strength that doesn't need to prove itself. That's a strength few understand, a strength born not of dominance, but of deep, unshakable presence. And now, when you speak, the earth listens. Your voice carries weight, not because it's loud, but because it's true. You didn't need to scream to be powerful. You needed to remember. And now you've remembered, your silence has become a thunder that shifts everything. They couldn't stand your light because it reminded them of what they had forgotten in themselves. So they tried to cover it through shame, criticism, rejection. They told you to tone it down, play small, stay quiet. But they didn't understand. Your light isn't a choice. It's your essence. And essence cannot be extinguished. You tried to hide it for a while, didn't you? You dimmed your glow to fit in, to be loved, to avoid the target that light attracts. But no matter how much you tried to shrink, your soul rebelled. Because you weren't born to be a flicker. You were born to blaze. You were born to illuminate. And when they pushed too hard, tried too long, something inside you erupted. You stopped apologizing. You stopped seeking validation. And instead of dimming your light, you became the sun. Not to burn others, but to warm the world. You rose in a way that made hiding impossible. Now your light guides others. It calls the lost home. It clears the fog. And those who once feared it, they now see it for what it is: healing, hope, and divine fire. You are no longer afraid of your light. You are your light. The pain you endured was never to break you. It was preparing you, shaping you, carving space within you for the immense power you now carry. Life didn't hurt you because you were cursed. It tested you because you were called. And the calling was never meant for the faint of heart. There were nights you cried so deeply you thought you'd drown. Days you walked alone with nothing but faith to hold. And still, you didn't collapse. That wasn't weakness. That was your soul being tempered like steel. Because the strength you would need couldn't be learned from books. It had to be lived. Now, looking back, you understand. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every loss taught you surrender. Every delay taught you divine timing. You weren't being destroyed. You were being designed. And what you've become is something unshakable, unstoppable, and holy. You wear your scars like armor now, not to show off, but to remind the world, I survived, I transformed, I rose. Your pain gave birth to your power. And now, nothing can take that from you. You weren't sent here to follow trends. You came to rewrite them. You are a living blueprint for a world not yet born. Your values, your vision, your voice. They are aligned not with the old systems, but with the sacred ones rising. You didn't come to repeat history. You came to recode it. The systems you question, you're meant to. The way you see life, love, truth, that's not rebellion. It's remembrance. You carry in your soul the codes for a more honest, connected, and conscious humanity. And as you live them out loud, you awaken others to do the same. The new earth won't come through politics or power plays. It will come through people like you, souls who dare to live with integrity, empathy, and fire. Your existence is a revolution. Your healing is an act of divine protest. You being you is the seed of change. So walk boldly now. You are not just waking up for yourself. You are laying foundations for generations to come. You are the prophecy in motion. You are the bridge between worlds. The greater your purpose, the greater the pressure. That's not punishment, it's protection. The universe doesn't hand sacred missions to untested hands. You were refined through fire, so you could hold what others would drop. You were tested not to destroy you, but to prove you. Others may not understand the battles you've faced. They didn't see the nights you stood on the edge, but the divine did, and every test you passed became a confirmation. This one is ready. You didn't lose those relationships, those jobs, that version of yourself by accident. You shed what could not go where you're destined to lead. You carry wisdom now that wasn't downloaded. It was earned. And because you earned it, it's embedded in your being. No one can take it from you. You carry a frequency that transforms every room you walk into. That's not ego, it's energy. It's alignment. It's truth. So, don't resent the tests. They were the proving ground for your power. And now that you've passed, you've been cleared for full expression. Walk forward knowing you were chosen for a reason, and you've become exactly who you were meant to be. You are not just healing yourself, you are healing your bloodline. Your awakening isn't just personal, it's ancestral. You were sent to end cycles that have run for centuries. The anger, the shame, the scarcity, the silence. You were the one chosen to stop it, to say, it ends with me. It hasn't been easy. Carrying the weight of generations while building something new takes strength most can't imagine. But still, you've done it. With every inner child you've nurtured, every belief you've rewritten, you've changed the future and rewritten the past. Your ancestors walk with you now. They see you doing what they couldn't, and they're not ashamed. They're grateful. You are the fulfillment of their prayers, the living embodiment of their dreams. You carry their hope, and with every step forward, you honor their legacy. You are not cursed. You are the cure. You are not broken. You are the breakthrough. You are not just healing. You are rewriting history. And that is holy. You thought it was over, didn't you? When everything fell apart, when you lost what you thought you couldn't live without, it felt like the end. But that was never destruction. That was initiation. Every breakdown was a spiritual contraction, preparing you to birth something greater. You lost the job, the person, the version of yourself you outgrew, and it hurt. But in that empty space, truth entered, light entered, you entered. You found pieces of yourself in the ruins you couldn't have discovered in comfort. And slowly, piece by piece, you rebuilt. Now you walk with the kind of wisdom only earned through surrender. You trust life differently. You know that even when it feels like death, it might just be rebirth. Your pain didn't destroy you. It unveiled you. It introduced you to the parts of yourself that were waiting to be remembered. So celebrate the breakdowns. Without them, you wouldn't have broken through. They were the portals to your power. The collapse was never the end. It was the doorway to your destiny. There are people who have never met you, but who needed someone like you to rise. Your healing, your art, your voice, your truth. It is the answer to prayers whispered in despair. Somewhere, someone cried out for a light in the dark, and that light was you. You may never know who you've impacted, but your energy, your choice to keep going, sent ripples across time and space. When you stood up for yourself, you showed others what was possible. When you loved yourself, you taught others how. Your courage isn't just yours, it's a beacon for many. You didn't come here to be famous. You came to be faithful, to your truth, to your mission, to your light. And in doing so, you fulfilled a role few even knew existed. You are the living response to cries for change, for healing, for hope. Never doubt your value. You are not just chosen, you are needed. You are not just alive, you are divine intervention. You had every reason to quit. You faced rejection, failure, loneliness. Life tried to beat the fight out of you, but you held on. Even if it was just by a thread, you kept walking, even when you couldn't see the way. You refused to give up, and that decision changed everything. It wasn't grand gestures that saved you. It was the small, quiet choices. Choosing to believe when there was no evidence. Choosing to try again when everything inside screamed, "Why bother?" Those moments built you, forged you, turned you into someone who could carry miracles. You are rising now because you've become someone worthy of the light. You don't just want blessings, you understand them. You've earned every breakthrough through fire. And now, as the elevation comes, you rise with grace, not ego, with humility, not pride. This isn't a comeback, this is a becoming. You didn't just survive, you transformed. And now, the world will see what only your soul knew all along. You were never done. You were just becoming unstoppable. For too long, you hid behind masks. You played roles. You performed for love, for safety, for survival. But none of it felt right, did it? Deep down, you knew, this isn't me. And that discomfort was your soul pleading for freedom. Not to become something else, but to become yourself. The world didn't need another version of what it already has. It needed you, the real you, the raw, beautiful, imperfect, radiant you. The you that laughs too loud, feels too much, dreams too big. The you that's been buried under shoulds and shame and survival. It's time to let that version breathe. Because when you show up as you, unfiltered and unmasked, something magical happens. Others do too. Your authenticity creates permission. Your truth becomes a mirror. And in that reflection, the world begins to heal. So drop the mask. The performance is over. The real you is more than enough. In fact, the real you is exactly what this world has been waiting for.